Donald Trump recently blasted the Federal Reserve for affecting the economy to influence the presidential election in favor of Hillary Clinton. Now, I'll take it one step further. The Federal Reserve has been affecting everyone since the monstrosity was birthed in 1913 at Jekyll Island, Georgia. And of course, as you know, things got even worse when the US dollar was taken off entirely from the gold standard back in 1971. But there is a way to reverse it. I want you to meet Walter Reddy. He is an artisan. He's an artist. He's an inventor and a founding partner of PureGrainsOfGold.com and Pure Gold Pages. He's also a featured sponsor here at Next News this month. He's here to present to you his new plan to restore economic independence to the United States. Welcome, Walter, to the program.
Thank you, Gary. It's great being with you again.
Absolutely. Now, Walter, is America economically independent today? What are your thoughts on Trump's statements on the Fed?
Well, it is a rigged system. I mean, the monopoly on our money, the Federal Reserve, but obviously we're not independent. We're all dependent on the international banking cartels' monopoly of the money in everyday transactions that we do. Mm-hmm. So we're all dependent on it. We have no choice. It's a monopoly.
Well, we certainly see credit cards. We see, the banking system. You can't survive outside of it. But now we're seeing the rise of digital currencies, and now you've got a new concept in place that is remarkable. One thing, Walter, that I've always advocated for, and is that look. When we take a look at our dollar bills, it says it's a debt note on it. And when Nixon took us off the gold standard officially, what happened? We've got to get back to a system where we can transact individually with each other. Now, before we get into your solution, your economic solution, is our economy in a stable position right now? Do we live in an honest economy?
I would say absolutely not. I mean, I think any economist, if they were honest, would say no. We are in a global economy, and we're all affected. Something happens in China, we're affected here. So it's all tied together, and it's a global monopoly. If we ever want to be independent again, we need to break those chains, I believe, and get back to honest, stable money, which is gold and silver, I believe.
Gold and silver. Now, should we be waiting for government to fix the problem, or should we be the ones fixing the problem ourselves?
Well, if we look at the Constitution, I mean, we delegated certain powers to Congress to coin our money, to regulate the value. And in Article 2, Section 2, the state shall make nothing but gold and silver tender for debt. I mean, right? So they do have a role, but the free market, if we really want to have a free market, we need to, I believe, need a dual transition slowly out of this Federal Reserve system into a stable, honest money system.
So basically like a parallel monetary system that would ride along with the fiat paper.
Yes, because, I mean, Gary, you and I were around when Ron Paul, audit the Fed, the whole thing, which is fine. And like you said, I mean, Trump is also open to that. But I don't believe we can just end it overnight. I mean, it would cause complete chaos. I mean, we have to gradually wean our way out of it into something stable. And what I'm proposing here is a plan to do exactly that.
So let's talk about that in a minute. But first, there's something called Gresham's Law. What exactly is it?
Gresham's Law, I would say it could be summed up very simply by bad money driving out good money. Prior to 1965, we still had good money, meaning silver currency, circulating in our economy. $1 in silver currency was equal to one Federal Reserve note. It was 1 to 1. We had relatively no inflation. From 1792 to 1964, all of our silver coins contain 90% silver, 10% copper alloy. Here are just some examples. I'll just hold up. This is an old Morgan. Can you see this?
Oh, yeah.
An old Morgan
Beautiful.
silver dollar.
Mm-hmm.
This is 371 and a quarter grains of silver. That was our 1792 Coinage and Minting Act, the first time we minted our money. And I have here a Kennedy half. The last year they made a pure silver half dollar, Kennedy 1964. 90% silver, 10% copper alloy for wear. Here's a quarter dollar, 90% silver again. And an old Mercury dime, 90% silver. So ever since then, what happened in 1965, LBJ debased our money, reducing the silver content from 90% down to 40%. Throughout history, any king or anything that debased their money, that was a capital crime. But he got away with that. And by 1970, until the present time, none of our coins have any silver whatsoever. It's all junk.
Now back to LBJ real quick. What was his motivation to debase the currency?
Well, it's interesting what was happening at the time. We started the Vietnam War. Kennedy, I don't know what, some people say he wasn't and wanted to promote it. He was going to pull out our advisors. LBJ wanted to ramp it up. We didn't have enough money. This was all tied, 1-to-1, dollar to silver, right? We still had that one precious metal still circulating as money. But the wars cost a lot of money, and we needed to inflate the money, and that's when inflation started. And I believe that was the motivation.
So back to Gresham's law now, how do we reverse it? How do we get that good money to chase out the bad money?
I believe the way to reverse Gresham's law is to get the gold and silver money circulating as currency again, eventually driving out the bad money, which is the Federal Reserve notes. It's going to take some time, but we got to start somewhere.
Now, I understand as part of your solution, you've actually introduced a new monetary symbol. And I've seen so many different types of monetary symbols now, of course, with the advent of Bitcoin, the digital currencies, which are obviously backed by zeros and ones. There's no inherent value other than more or less a digital fiat. But now what you're actually talking about is something that's gold-based. Now, you have a new monetary symbol you want to share with us today?
Yeah, it's the symbol. I mean, we've been using the S with a line through it as a symbol, a dollar. Prior to even the founding of the country, it was based on the Spanish mill dollar. And that's how we got that 371 and a quarter grains of silver, because that's what the average pieces of 8 Spanish mill dollar was circulating at the time during the colonial period and into before we started minting our American coins, 1792. It was based on that weight of silver. So Americans haven't been used to anything other than the S with a line, a dollar. Mm-hmm. This symbol is GRG, stands for grains of gold, or GRS, 2 of them, are grains of silver. I believe that accurately can accurately designate the amount of value in a metal. It can accurately price goods and services. I think it's more accurate.
Now, grains of gold, most people are familiar with, ounces and grams and that type of thing. Help us understand the differences between
Okay,
grains and grams? I think that's probably one of the biggest questions people will have.
that's a good question. Um, Grams or kilograms, it's not based on the metric system. A lot of the Europeans are very familiar with the metrics, either meters or kilometers, grams, liters, but weight, kilograms and grams. Um, the American unit is ounces or grains of silver. In that 1792 Coinage and Minting Act, and I believe it's a superior unit, the grains, because it takes about roughly 15 grains to make 1 gram. And it's a much smaller, more accurate way to price things.
So 15. So it's about 15 grains to 1 gram
one
of gold.
gram, yeah.
Wow.
And I'll show you in a minute what a grain looks like, or a quarter grain of silver
Wow,
or
a
gold.
quarter grain even.
Yes. In today's value, I mean, I have an invention on a new patent. I mean, if we'll jump ahead a little bit here, but I've gotten a patent from the United States Patent and Trademark Office. June 21st of this year, we were issued a patent from Design Patent, and I have some prototypes here. I can show you.
Yeah, let's take a look at them.
Okay, these are units of 1 grain of pure gold.
Wow, that's beautiful.
There's a lot to it. There's nanotechnology, 21st century nanotechnology to manufacture these. But this 1 grain here is equivalent to about $4, and it's perforated into quarters. So 1/4 of a grain is equivalent to $1. It's a very easy way to, as an alternative to the Federal Reserve note.
Now, what was that stamped in the center there? Can you raise that up again?
That we're looking to eventually partner with one or more of the states to manufacture these and being state certified as to the weight and purity of the metal. And if you can see that.
Oh, wow. So each one would have its own stamp of certification
Yes.
with a corresponding state that is working with it inside of its borders.
Exactly.
So
And
this
we're
is
jumping-
so outside of the federal system, this would be more of a state sovereignty sort of tool as well.
Well, yeah. This past year, within the last year, Texas is the first state now that has introduced a gold depository, and they passed the bill. So right now they're in the process of. You're probably aware. Are you aware of that, Gary?
Yeah,
They're
we
in
know
the
that
process.
the Texas has definitely been leading the charge, recalling their gold from New York and really shaking
Exactly.
things up. And my hat's off to New York my hat's off to Texas for spearheading that for sure.
So what we're hoping to do, Pure Grains of Gold, is be one of the provider. If we could jump ahead here a little
Yeah,
bit.
let's talk about puregrainsofgold.com because we've got the link on the
Okay.
screen here. We
Okay.
want to remind people that the link is in the description if people want to visit the website to find out more. But tell us right now, what is it? What is puregrainsofgold.com? What is the action people can take?
Right now, we were granted a notice of allowance from the Patent and Trademark Office to use these new symbols. And in monetary exchange operations, financial services, namely providing a system for exchanging grains of gold and silver for use as currency, providing a monetary exchange service, namely exchanging grains of gold and silver for use as currency. We got that service mark for this. And any business that would like to use these GRG symbols or GRS, grains of silver, to price their goods and service as an alternative to the dollars are free to do so if they pre-enroll in our puregrainsofgold.com. By pre-enrolling in puregrainsofgold.com, you'll also save 50% off of our advertising site at puregoldpages.us. Normally, it's $24 a year for a year's advertising, your business, but we'll take 50% off of that for $12 a year. It's only $1 a month.
Wow,
Um,
that's
we,
quite a value.
we're doing a very nominal thing. We just want more and more people to start transitioning into using real money, gold and silver. So right now, before we start manufacturing this, we can use all of these gold and silver coins that have been minted. The problem is that the mint, though, has not been making the dimes, the quarters, the half dollars. They've only been making the 480 grain ones. So this will eventually complement all of the gold and silver coins, this new invention. But right now, we can still price our goods and services in the GRGs or GRSs.
So what is the ultimate goal that you want to see for puregrainsofgold.com?
Well, like I said, we would like to, the first goal is to be a provider for our customers that have pre-enrolled at these state gold depositories, where our customers can not only safely store their gold and silver, but also transact online or through their accounts or use a real gold and silver debit card in these units of GRG or GRS. So that's what we're hoping to do. The more people we get pre-enrolled, and it's free to pre-enroll in puregrainsofgold.com, the more we'll have influence with the states to be a provider for the customers, for the people.
At the consumer level, somebody goes into a store, they've got an option. Let's just say they're at a coffee shop and they can buy a cup of coffee, and they say, okay, they see the GRG, GRS, or Fed notes. What would be the motivator for an individual to pay with fiat versus gold or silver?
That's a good question. How do we drive out the bad money and become more and more with the good money, the silver and gold? The businesses could maybe motivate their customers by giving a small discount, discount a little bit less if they pay in the gold and silver, right, as opposed to the Federal Reserve. That may motivate people to spend their gold into circulation. And for example, I've done artisan work. I've charged normally, like, say, $400 a day for my labor. I would offer my labor also for gold, say 96 grains of gold, okay, GRGs. Now, in today, you could buy there's 48 grains. The smallest unit of gold today that's minted is a 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagle. And 2 of those is 96 grains. Now, in the marketplace, if you go to a coin shop or online and bought that, you could get purchase those for about $150 a coin. So we could actually start transacting now. I would discount, it would only cost the customer $300 worth of gold, as opposed to paying me $400 in Federal Reserve notes. So the more we did that, we could eventually, that's one example.
Now, as a business owner who's watching right now, how would it affect their bookkeeping? Would they have to keep a separate balance sheet for gold? Would they have to keep a separate? I mean, obviously, how to differentiate from a solid, tangible asset like gold, and then if you got your worthless toilet paper, known as Federal Reserve notes.
Right, that's a very good question. Dr. Edwin Vieira, who I'm sure you respect too, he put out a gold clause contract, a little pamphlet, but he also talks about it in his book, Pieces of Eight. He has a chapter in that, a very extensive book on the monetary powers and disabilities of the Constitution. But right now, today, we have every right, lawfully and legally, to contract in gold and silver, clause contracts. It can be verbal, it can be written. It's a little bit tricky with with tax wise. You have to know what you're doing, but you can transact in the gold and silver. But there are some tax liabilities with everything, the paper as
Sure.
well as so. But
Well,
yes, they're legal to use now. This is gold and silver, United States, gold and silver money. You know.
Well, this is certainly exciting. I'm always anxious to to learn about new solutions and of course new startups that are have revolutionary concepts at the heart of it that can definitely change the face of America with enough people understanding and learning. And that's why you're here to share this idea, to share this concept, to get people on board. This is really a movement. And we've seen so many different movements across this country,
Right.
especially in the monetary reform, which is so needed. It is so needed. I mean, Walter, we the American people are getting raked over the coals every single day. We're watching bubbles being created by the central
Yep.
bankers of the world.
Yep.
They're evaporating all this fiat money, and we're seeing banks collapse. The only way we're going to get out of this hole is if the American people understand that we've got to get back to sound monetary solutions. And
Right.
you're certainly presenting one, and it's really an interesting. Show that billfold again,
Oh,
because I
okay.
think it's really beautiful. I think
This
people
is
really want to
this
see
is
it.
a silver currency.
Oh wow! So you've got a silver one
Green.
there.
Oh yeah, and this is equivalent in today's market about 20 cents of in today's money. Okay, and 1/4 of a grain of silver is equivalent to about 5 cents. So this would actually complement all the coins, the smaller units. This is the grain, and there's 48 grains of gold in one booklet, which is equivalent to, no, 24 grains, which is 1/20th of an ounce. And so 20 booklets make up 1 troy ounce in a box. I mean, eventually, when we start manufacturing, that's what we will be offering it for sale. But
So beautiful. Now, before we go, how can businesses benefit now? You mentioned the advertising aspect.
um,
How can businesses benefit by advertising their company and their website with puregoldpages.us? And I'm assuming that, now correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to get, this is more or less a huge a listing nationwide of businesses who are joining with this movement to accept it. So talk to us real quick about how the businesses can benefit.
well, the businesses can benefit. I mean, it's only a nominal fee of $12 a year if they pre-enroll in the puregrainsofgold.com. And for $12 a year, that comes out to $1 a month in advertising cost. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah, that's quite
yeah.
quite a bit
So
of value.
I mean, I'm sure they can recoup that in one sale or whatever they sell. You know?
Yeah.
But it'll help in this movement of.
So basically, what you're doing is I mean, an advertising listing could cost people hundreds, if thousands of dollars. So you've lowered the advertising rate on your website just
Right.
to get it out there, get the volume, get the people excited about it.
And they can go to the website anytime they want and edit their own website or their information on there. It's all proactive on their end. It also it may expand their customer base just by people that are interested in gold and silver. You know, they may bring in new customers. So I think it's a real win for the small businesses. And I understand. Finally, I mean, a business will still need to do the majority of their sales in Federal Reserve dollars. I mean, even though it's bad money, because most of their suppliers and their cost of doing business, they need to pay in the Federal Reserve System. But eventually, I hope if we get more and more businesses and customer individuals using gold and silver money, It'll force the bad money eventually out of service, reversing Gretchen's law.
All right, Walter, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the Next News Network. We welcome your program, and I hope that our viewers at home will take action, especially the business owners too, to jump on your site at puregrainsofgold.com and Pure Gold Pages. It's puregoldpages.us, you said?
.us, yeah.
puregoldpages.us.
Us.
And get on board with the free account, and like we got to start somewhere. And I'm glad that you have taken upon yourself, I mean, as an inventor, to create something so beautiful, and to really put yourself in the gap, to fill the void where it needs to be filled, to bring up a solution for the American people. So my hat's off to you for that. And folks at home,
thank you, Gary.
Hit the websites there. You can see it on the screen. We'll put the links in the description. And if you have any questions, by all means, you can contact Walter at his websites. I'm sure he will be happy to help you understand more, and of course, get plugged in. I mean, that's the only way we're going to change America, is if we act upon, the solutions. If we don't act, we are acted upon ourselves. So we can either be victims or we can be, soldiers for a solution. And Walter is one of those people right now out there. So Walter, once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, that was Walter Reddy, artist, artisan, inventor, and founding partner of puregrainsofgold.com, puregoldpages.us. He's now a featured sponsor here at Next News, and you just heard his plan. So plug into it, go to the websites. If you have questions, of course, hit his website or in the comment section below what are your thoughts on it, and I'll see you at the next report. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi.
You possess the power to impact the global narrative. Please share this report, and to get more videos like this, become a Next News subscriber by clicking the link below. Thank you for watching the Next News Network.